Like, these are all video games.
Mm-hmm.
These all were video games that came before the board game. Whether or not they are the best, I will say these are probably the better ones that you have a snowball's chance of getting. I will also state that this is a list that's based off of movies and not video games, not television, that also had a video game. It had to start primarily as a video game, in my opinion.
Yep, no,
so
all mine were.
If it was a video game that went to a board game that was also a TV show or was a movie that I wasn't going to do that. It's just specifically games only that became board games.
Okay.
By the way, this is Chris from Deus Ex Machina, and I am with
Dave from Rampant Wolf Games.
And as you figured out, we're talking about the top 5 board games that were video games. They started as video games, then they became board games. These are the top 5. And as we stated, these games may not be good.
But at least they were video games before they became board games.
And these are games that, in large, you can acquire.
Yes.
Yes. By a majority. At least my list is. His
list
is going to be a complete mess.
My number 4 will be hard. Because it was limited runs.
Yeah. For me, my number 3 is hard. That's a sexual joke. All right, number 5. Aha! See, I did that because I'm thinking, you know what? I gotta give him a win.
All right. Well, you're not going to because my number 5 is a stretch. So
is it a video game?
It's a video game, but the board game I figure embodies the video game.
Okay.
So it's not named after it, but I feel like if you played the video game, you play this board game, and you're just like, yeah.
Okay, now, wait.
Yep.
Does the board game have its name?
No.
Oh, for the love of God.
So, the video game is Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
The board game is Frag by Steve Jackson Games.
Why didn't you just do Adrenaline then? Because isn't Adrenaline the better game that's a first-person shooter?
No, Frag is better.
All right.
So... But, so, because it's the big maps and team play and all, so I'm going with Frag. For my number 5.
See, I'll give you that pass because I'm sure the game is good. My number 5 is good marginally.
Okay,
because it's a game you can get, and I'm convinced that this is how they designed the game, and that's this War of Mine. Because it's a game that
I don't have it in my collection anymore. So
because you sold it to me because you didn't like it. Because the game is unrelentingly difficult. And after a couple plays, I realized that
it's artwork. It's not supposed to be something you can play.
It is it's a game that's designed to give you content when you lose. It's a game that you're supposed to experience, and you should expect to lose. The failure rate that game is excruciatingly high.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the only game I know that gives you story about how you lost.
Yes.
How you lost. That book is filled with depressing fates of people you play. Things never go well.
Someone put their cigarettes out in their eyes and committed suicide. It's like, whoa!
There's a video game came first. It's a video game that you can cheese. As a result, it's not a hard game to win. Like, the first time I played it was a difficult game. And then I found ways to cheese the system. And at that point, it became a game. I wasn't thinking I'm thinking, oh, this person's depressed. Oh, have a couple good meals, 2 days of sleep, you'll be back right as rain. Mm-hmm. Right? This game is like, no, we're going to take all the things that you could do to alter the game to make it a game. It's a board game that doesn't want to be a board game. It wants to push you through this experience. The mechanics are almost an afterthought.
Yeah, it's made to peel back your fingernails and push rusty nails through your...
Yeah, and I have to give them credit for even attempting to do that by saying, you know what? The video game was not grim enough. Yeah. Because I'll tell you, there's more. The board game is darker and more depressing than the video game.
Yeah.
Which I thought was shocking enough as it was.
Yeah, which, I think Tom Vassell said it best, where you play the game, and honestly, you don't want to play it afterward.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
I played it once, and I was like, wow. I'm like, okay, I'll play it again. Yeah. And I'm just like, nope. I was right the first one.
There's more story in your failure. If you win, you won.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won. Here's your after stories. If everything's bad, there's a lot of plot.
There's a lot of bad.
If everything were to work in your favor, good luck in that game. But it's just like, hey, yeah, things are fun.
They just came out with an expansion. I'm curious.
There's an expansion coming out. I don't think it's out yet.
No, it isn't. It's just hit the stores. I looked at it and I was just like,
And yeah, it's one of those games where I think if they want this game to be played multiple times, they have to make it a bit easier.
Like, holy moly.
But that's my number 5 pick. This 4 of mine.
All right. Number 4 for me is based off of League of Legends, Mechs vs. Minions.
I knew it! I knew you were going to put Mechs and Minions.
Yes.
And the only reason why I didn't put it on the list is that I haven't played it.
Yep, fair enough.
Because Mechs and Minions, I know it doesn't say League of Legends, but it's in that setting and in that universe, so it absolutely counts.
Yeah.
The only issue with it is that you will never get it. Like, you can't buy it.
Yeah, no, it's really hard to get.
If you find it on eBay, good luck, because you're paying 3 or 4 times more than the retail price. It is an incredible.
Yeah, mine is copied number 6,000 something of the first 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I sat there for like 3 hours when it first came out. I'm like, refresh. Because I got in, but their store crashed.
Because there's so much.
Yeah, there's so many people. Yeah, so Mechs vs. Minions, is it a good game?
But it's an epic game. And just owning it... No, just owning it itself is just like, look what I own.
Fair enough.
Let me unbox this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's not...
It's like, is it a good game? That's not what I'm showing you. I'm showing you, look how amazing. It's a show car.
It is.
It's a car you put in your garage and you don't drive.
And it also shows what you can do if you do all of your production in-house. You can produce something of that quality for that cheap.
Yeah.
Because that was huge quality for cheap. And they did it all in-house, which honestly some board game companies need to maybe think about moving their stuff back over here. Anyways.
But the resources to create that facility local is going to be astronomical.
Mm-hmm. So that was my number 4, Mechs vs. Minions.
My number 4 is a game that is extremely controversial because of what it does.
Okay.
Right? Extremely controversial. A lot of people despise this game, and a lot of people love this game.
Okay.
Xcom. The reliance on its app, it was one of the... I want to say it's the first game to have integration, but it was one of the first... It was an early game that had... It was one of the earliest games that had heavy app integration.
Yeah.
So it got the brunt of the ire of people that said, I don't want to play the video game, I want to play a board game.
Yep.
And now we have a lot more games that have app integration that don't get the kind of flack. One game had to come out first that would take all the hate, and that was XCOM.
The other reason I think it gets hate is because it's not what we wanted.
Yeah,
we want the squad combat.
We wanted the squad-based combat, and we got the base management instead.
Exactly.
But I understand the decision to do that because it might have been easier from a production standpoint.
But here's my thought on that one. I really think Fantasy Flight should have been like, let's do the squad-based one. It's printing money, and then we can release the base management game later.
Or better still,
they wanted to push that app integration.
Yeah. Now the best part is that what they should do, they should put an expansion, which is all the squad combat, and have it integrate with the game, and have like this gigantic, set aside an afternoon, folks, because you'll be doing this a while.
Oh yeah.
So that's my number 4 pick, XCOM, the board game.
Good pick. Number 3 for me is Doom.
I figured Doom would pop up. Yeah, because it's a pretty popular game.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. Does it capture the board game, or does it capture the nostalgia of the video game? No. It captures, I think, the movie with Dwayne Johnson. Honestly, it does. It feels like I'm playing that. Or even, wasn't there a recent movie that came out also? No. Doom? No? Okay.
They were thinking.
Oh, Doom 3D. Or it captures like the later Dooms.
Yeah.
It doesn't capture
the classic Doom.
The classic Doom.
No, I imagine so. It's not like it's going after Doom 2 or the offshoot Dooms or Doom 4. It's going after the crazy metal hard rock Doom.
Yeah. So that's my number 3, Doom.
Yeah, I haven't played Doom. You want a Doom?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, big box. Yeah. My number 3 is an odd one, but I've noticed I'm still waiting for it's a good game, but it's a strange interpretation of it, and I've noticed it is actually quite popular in certain circles. You're looking confused.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
It's Bioshock Infinite, The Siege of Colombia. It's a Fantasy Flight game. I have to admit, I'll give them credit for... I guess someone said, we have this license, what are we going to do with it? And it's like, well, it's there's 2 characters that are established. Like, do you want to make a 2-player co-op? Or like, nope. What do we do with the setting? How about we make it a 2-player point-counterpoint empire building game between the Confederacy and the Vox Populi, where the main characters of the game are NPCs that are moving through the map. And what you're doing is that you are playing as the overpowering faction. So as you're playing the video game, these two forces are in conflict throughout the entire game. Vox Populi and the forces of Colombia are in conflict. The board game is based off of that, which you had no impact. You had very little influence on as the characters. So they inverted it, and now you have very little influence on the characters, and you're playing as the two big factions. The two-player game, I like the fact that it's got a lot of weird miniatures, and it's kind of neat. I give them credit for trying. It's an interesting take. I don't know if it'd be my choice, but if someone said you have this license, what would you do? I don't think I would think of a better alternative to that. So that's my number 3 pick, Bioshock Infinite: The Siege of Colombia.
All right. My number 2, and the reason I'm laughing is Xcom.
I did not think you'd put this on the list.
It made the list.
Wow, then I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. No, XCOM made it to number 2 because honestly...
Even though you want XCOM 2 to be a board game that's got squad-based combat.
I do. But then again, I have Galaxy Defenders for that for now.
So when I said make a sequel to XCOM that has squad combat, which you can combine with XCOM, and you just salivated?
Yeah, pretty much. I was just like, ooh, that would be nice. Yeah. But yeah, XCOM, does it capture what the video game did? A portion of it.
Yeah.
So, that's my number 2.
My number 2, I have to, once again, I like the decision they made with this one, and I give it credit for trying. I think it's a good game. I have a problem with its definition of what it is, and that's Bloodborne, the card game. Bloodborne card game claims itself as semi-cooperative, which means it is not cooperative whatsoever. It is fully competitive. You guys are different fighters that are playing cards. It's not it's a very minor deck builder. It's a card game. There's a unified boss you're all trying to defeat. And yet, only one of you can really do whoever takes the kill. You guys distribute tokens, but at the end of the day, only one person can win, which means it's competitive.
Yeah.
And so when you get near the end of the game, there is no cooperation. You are trying to screw over the other people.
Yeah.
You say if I can't defeat this creature alone and get the money, then no one is, or get the blood.
Yeah.
Then nobody is. But the game itself is still incredibly fun. Mm-hmm. There's some take that mechanics. The blood mechanic, the tokens. It's a cheap game. It's under $40. The art styles are really good. I like the cards. It's some neat ideas. Some of the cards are really mean. I think there's one card that kicks the player out of the game. Ouch. There's one opponent. You just don't play with that opponent. There's 4 end bosses. Don't play with that end boss. Yeah. And there's also specific circumstances that causes him to knock the player out. But for me, it's a very fun game. I've played it a couple of times. I do have an issue with it that it's only playable at 3. There is absolutely zero option to play it with 2 people. It's not balanced at all. So you have to find 3 people to play, which means it doesn't hit the board very much for me. No. But it is definitely, for its price, it's not bad. I mean, I like what they did. That's Bloodborne, the card game.
Okay, fair enough.
Once again, I'm trying to do this, and for some reason I'm doing the trident. But anyway, no, it was the scissors. I was trying to do scissors. Okay. I cut you.
All right, what's number 1?
Maybe my hands are maybe a palsy. My number 1 is going to be not much of a departure from number 2, and that's Dark Souls, the card game. I will definitely not put Dark Souls, the board game, despite the fact that so many lists about video games to board game adaptations puts the Dark Souls board game really high on the list. But when you read the reviews and read the aggregate, it is not a popular game.
Nope.
I also haven't played it, so I wouldn't put it for that reason. But I'm pretty sure from what I've read, I probably wouldn't enjoy it.
Nope.
But the card game, made by the exact same people, I might add, is a cheaper game. The production design is really solid. There's a lot of art style. It's a bit monochromatic, but it's Dark Souls, what do you expect? I think the graphics design in Bloodborne is a bit better. You can see the creatures a bit more. The cards are nice and large. Dark Souls is very much a deck builder. It does one thing that's kind of frustrating, and the fact that it actually implemented the grinding portion. So it can take a few minutes to kill a creature, and you got to do that 9 or 10 times. And every time, and it's a push your luck. So the group goes out. It's cooperative, fully cooperative this time. Yep. You go out. You see how far you can push to kill as many creatures as you can. You come back to camp. and every time you come back to camp, you got to draw this card, and that makes the fire, because using the mechanics of the game, that much lighter. So you can't go back to base. You only go back to base 5 times, and then that snuffs out, and you can't go back. So you have to push out as much as you can, fighting as powerful creatures as you can, so you get enough experience when you get back to camp, you can buy better cards. So you can't just grind the low ones, because they're not giving you enough resources. You hit the big ones, oh yeah, they pay out, but they can also kick the crap out of you. And if you die, you don't lose everything. You lose a little bit, and then you have to go back. Mm-hmm. So it's a great push your luck. The only downside with the game is that it is shockingly long for what it does. The more you know the game, it's going to be a bit easier. But when you go back to camp, you can literally rebuild your entire deck from the ground up, right? Which means if you're like a min-maxer, you can analyze that deck for 10 or 15 minutes. So that turns a game that could be an hour into like 3 hours playing this game. The first time we played it, it was 2.5. It took us 2 days. We had to stop playing and start playing the next day, and it took us another 90 minutes to play it. First time we played it. We won, but bugger hell, that game was long. But I say, mechanically, it's a good game. It's fun. It's very simplistic, but I'd rather play that than the board game. That is number 1 Dark Souls, the card game.
All right. So my number 1, very popular game franchise that has spawned at least 2 different board game titles, if not more, that I can't think of the other ones, but 2 for sure, and that is Fallout. Now, Fallout the board game, not Fallout Wasteland Warfare, because Wasteland Warfare...
No, I know the game you're talking about. I see that game, and I'm like, there are other games that are themed similarly that I think I'd rather have, but...
It actually, I thought the same, but when I actually played it, what they decided to do and incorporate things like the elements from the Arkham Horror Living Card game with the archives and the codex and all that stuff, it worked really well. It tells a story that seems not just to happen. It seems like, because as you encounter certain elements, you're like, okay, take these cards and throw them into the upcoming events, and you might encounter those, which will then trigger other cards that you have to put in. So it feels like it has a cohesive story that's being told at the same time. And that made me, when we bought it, we were just like, okay, get the expansion right away.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was great. When we played it with everybody, everyone who has played it, it was just like, that's a good game. I have not had someone say that game sucks.
Well, it's very interesting comparing your list to mine. So once again, that was his number 1 list. My number 5 is This War of Mine. Number 4, XCOM. Number 3, Bioshock Infinite, Siege of Colombia. Number 2, Bloodborne card game. Number 1, Dark Souls. But I need to put a caveat that I would rather play your games.
Fair enough. So my number 5 is Frag. Number 4 is Mechs vs. Minions. Number 3 is Doom. Number 2 is XCOM. And number 1 is Fallout.
Yeah, I mean, I've played only a couple of those games.
Yeah.
So that's the limitation when you're dealing with people that have been playing games for a while, but there's so many board games on the market, some people haven't played them all.
Yes.
So I was working off of my list, and obviously our one common point is XCOM.
Yep.
But, I do like Dark Souls. But if someone gave me those 10 games, and you get to take the 5 games to take home and play, I would pick all your 5 games. Quite literally, I would take them all, because they're all really epic, big games. I mean... Yeah. Just so I can sell mechs and minions and pay for my car. All right, so I have been Chris.
I've been Dave. And remember, the rules are just a suggestion. Play the game how you want to play it.